Well, we have a lot of good news going on this morning already. The Tesla stock is up over 260 again, around 262 as I'm starting this video, up a bunch, like 12. And apparently we can put to rest the idea that Elon Musk's politics are playing a significant role in the stock price, unless it would be in a positive way. After endorsing Trump, we're up big, and it's just not me talking. Market Watch and Barron's both suggesting that this morning's rally is tied to an endorsement of Trump by Elon Musk and recognition that a Trump victory will be good for Tesla. Here's what Barron's Al Root has to say. The endorsement is significant for Tesla because in the recent past, Trump has been critical of EVs. Any softening of his stance towards the technology can only benefit Tesla and other EV markets. By the way, we did see this softening taking place just a couple of weeks ago, where Elon Musk says that he really likes Elon and really likes Tesla. And electric cars. He actually said he liked electric cars, just doesn't like them being forced down people's throats. Political dispositions play a role in EV purchasing. Conservative voters tend not to like them. Surveys from consultants and Wall Street show that very roughly 2/3 of self-identified conservatives won't consider an EV for the next car purchase, while roughly 2/3 of liberal voters will consider one. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives recently wrote that a second Trump term would represent a challenge for EV makers, with purchase tax credits potentially going away. Still, Tesla is in the best position to weather any headwinds, he said. Tesla has the scale and scope that is unmatched in the EV industry, and this dynamic could give Musk and Tesla a clear competitive advantage in a non-EV subsidy environment, wrote Ives, which, of course, Elon has said he doesn't care about these subsidies. And I've said this, agreeing with Elon from the very beginning. A second Trump term likely means higher China tariffs that would continue to push away cheaper EV players. Not at all concerned about, not interested in it. Tariffs are okay. I've got no objection to using tariffs for this and that and the other purpose, especially for strategic reasons, but also as a way to raise revenue. But I'm also not that interested in using it in a way that makes us look like a cheap third world nation that has to protect our industry. Balancing and bringing things into a more competitive situation when other countries are also using certain governmental ways of advantaging themselves. Yeah, I'm all for that. Anyway, this report was written days before the assassination attempt and before Musk's endorsement. They said the headlines might not be as large with Musk backing President Trump. Anyway, Tesla chief Elon Musk has suggested he could build an Iron Man-style metal suit of armor following the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Maybe it's time to build that flying metal suit of armor, Mr. Musk said on X, replying to a user asking him to beef up his security. In that same vein, Tesla Boomer Mama is at it again. Go, Alexandra. And she put together a shareholder petition asking the board to spend more money on Musk's security. We'll see what happens with that. Apparently, I think Elon has significant security. Seem to see about 2 to 3 fellas, large men that seem to be protecting him in most public events. In the past 2 weeks, Tesla has secured, Sawyer Merritt reporting this morning, in the past 2 weeks alone, I added the alone part, Tesla has secured new Megapack contracts worth a combined $800 million, totaling 2.4 gigawatt hours on battery projects. And these are just the ones we know about, says Sawyer Merritt. Then Susquehanna finance analyst Bijou Perrin-Cheryl is hearing that Powerwall deployments are growing as equipment availability ramps up. Well, okay, go energy storage. This is Randy Kirk. If you have not yet hit the like button, this is a perfect time to go, okay, I can reach all the way over there and hit that like button. And then you could hit subscribe if you haven't done that. This would be a fantastic time to do it. And then notify, because, of course, Brian White will be on later today. And tonight, it's Larry Goldberg back to discuss the good news. Maybe we'll close above 265. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And then, of course, love to have you join Patreon. You just do that below. I've decided it's the patriotic thing to do, is to join Patreon. All right. Some pundits are referring to the excellent market morning that we're having this morning, the upward trend, as the Trump trade after the failed assassination attempt. Also, while the Russell is doing well this morning, so is the NASDAQ. So there's not any really continuing evidence of actual rotation out of techies and into value stocks or into small caps and mid caps. With only 3 days of data points, which is not enough. We need a lot more data before we can really call this. But it might be smarter to call this a broadening out as opposed to a rotation. It isn't like there isn't enough cash on the sidelines to do both at the same time. We chew gum and walk simultaneously. Anyway, from the Empire State Manufacturing Survey this morning, activity continues to contract in the New York State area. Manufacturing activity continues to decline modestly in New York State, according to the July survey. The General Business Conditions Index held steady at negative 6.6. The New Orders Index was little changed at negative 0.6, suggesting that orders remained flat and that shipments index ticked up. Shipments were up 3.9. Pointing to a slight increase in shipments. Unfilled orders declined. The inventories index fell to negative 6.1. So inventories lower, shipments higher, but new orders not that great. The delivery times index remained below zero at negative 9.2. Employment continues to decline. The index for the number of employees came in at negative 7.9, pointing to another month of employment contraction, while the average work week index came in around 0, suggesting hours worked stayed the same. That would really suggest that when it comes in at 0. The prices paid index edged up slightly to 26.5, indicating input prices continuing to rise modestly, while the prices received index came in at 6.1, indicating selling prices increasing as well, but in a minor way. Firms are relatively optimistic about future conditions. That's good news. Firms remain fairly optimistic about the outlook. After climbing sharply last month, the index for future business conditions was just slightly lower at 25.8. 41% of respondents expecting conditions to improve over the next 6 months. However, the outlook for employment growth remains weak and capital spending remains sluggish. I continue to harp on this, but hear me. At some point, employers are going to start sharpening their employment analysis. They're going to say, I don't need as many people. They're either not going to hire or they're going to lay off a few or just allow the attrition to take place. That's a great way to lower your employee count, is just to allow attrition to do the job. As people leave, you don't replace them. That can't always happen if you lose certain categories, but it's certainly a method that I used in my businesses. All right, so where are the markets trending now? With all of that said, let's take a look at what Tesla has done so far. We're looking at Tesla up 15.57 at $263.80, just a couple of bips below 265. Again, closing above 265 would be a deal, okay? Yes, it's a technical deal, but it's one of the kind of technical deals that I believe in, okay? It doesn't mean I'm right, just means that I believe in it. Okay, the Dow is up 202, NASDAQ up 130, S&P up 28, almost 29, and then you've got the Magnificent Seven, except for NVIDIA, which is down 29 cents, which would have been 290 just a few weeks ago. You've got Apple, Apple up significantly, 395. The rest of it is kind of in the middle, but everything up except NVIDIA. Then you got the Cathie Woods, pretty much the same, marginally good increases here and there, and then a couple down, but mostly up. So what is happening then? I'm sorry, I forgot it again. I forgot to do there's a bunch of you out there that like to hear about the percentages. Dow Jones up 0.5, NASDAQ up 0.72, S&P up 0.51, and Tesla up 6.33. By the way, I'm not casting aspersions on those who want the percentages. Believe me, percentages are way more important than the raw data. If you don't know that already, read my books. Okay. And I explain why the percentages are what matter. The raw data is, and it's amazing how many balance sheets, amazing how many profit and loss statements I've seen over those 400 plus companies that I have worked with over the last 16 years, how many of their profit and loss statements do not even have the percentages listed. Their CPA, their accountant, their outside bookkeeper is not providing them with the percentages, and they're not asking for it. This is a huge, major mistake by companies. And when you're analyzing financial statements, you need to see the percentages, even if you have to put them on your own spreadsheet and create the percentages so you can see what's going on. It's all in the percentages. Okay, that was extra. That was just thrown in. That's just a icing on the cake for you this morning. All right, now let's go take a look at what's happening with the bonds this morning. And I had already looked ahead, of course. The 10-year is up 4.2 at 4.228, so staying below my 4.25, kind of my balancing place right there. The 2-year is basically even 0.1%, or 0.1% of a basis point. And then you've got, but what I was looking at this morning, again, let me just do it real quick, 23 basis points now separating the 2-year and the 10-year. The inversion has dropped from 33, then it was holding around 27. Now it's at 23 this morning. Well, again, everybody says that when the inversion re-inverts, goes back to zero and then goes the positive, the way it normally is, that is the sign that the recession is underway. I'm saying we're in a recession now. This would be starting to indicate it. It has to go back to zero and positive, but we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Oh, by the way, the 2-month is still 110, 100, whatever. Yeah, over 110. So I'm kind of discarding the 2-month as a logical thing, but we'll continue to report it. It'll be fun. Over time, we'll see what happens with both of these, and maybe we'll be able to make history as having been paying attention to this on a daily basis. All right. Sorry, let's go on to the oil. We'll look at the oil. Let's go here. The oil this morning, down 59 cents. Brent down 48.50. 81.61 for Texas Intermediate, 84.53. So now we're back to that $3. That makes me, it's interesting. That $3 split is so much the norm. And when it goes up or down around that, it's saying something, okay? But oil going down is a good thing for the future economy, for the future inflation, but it suggests the economy is slowing. By the way, this is going down in the face of the fact that I read an article that 2 weeks in a row, U.S. reserves are down. So I'm not 100% sure what to make of that. Natural gas down strongly, 4.08% at 223. Gold up $4.80 at 24.25. Very close to the all-time high. Silver down this morning, though, 0.34. They usually go in tandem, but not this morning. Silver is at 31, again, very close to its all-time high. And copper down 1% at $4.54. That is in the middle of the recent trading range. Bitcoin jumping again. This headline, I'm just reading the headline. Bitcoin jumps as markets see increased odds of victory for pro-crypto Trump. Okay, that's the reason why they think he's pro-crypto. That's a recent thing, and I don't know how invested he is in pro-crypto, but the market believes it, maybe. So Bitcoin now back up to almost 63. The dollar is, it's not much change, but it's up against the euro, down against the yen, and the yen still waiting for that intervention that apparently is going to take place. And there you go. That is the markets. Let's go back as we do and take a look at where Tesla is now. Still sitting at 263.54, up 15.31. Yesterday, I did a video. I did two videos yesterday, which were extremely well received. One of them continues this morning to go crazy. You wouldn't call it quite viral, but as viral as I've ever had. It will be the number one video that I've ever put up. And it wasn't about Tesla. It was about the assassination attempt yesterday, where I claim that a three-letter agency had to be involved. And I make the case. You can take a look at it. I'll put the card up. Check out my case. See what you think. It's not political. It says it's a three-letter agency having nothing to do, not at the behest of the current administration, not at the behest of the Republican Party, not at the behest of anybody. It's a three-letter agency. Protecting themselves would be a guess. That's not part of my analysis. The analysis is only that the police had to let this guy up on the roof, had to let him know that the roof would be not secured. Take a look at it. The card's up there. And also, Larry and I did our analysis of the Cathie Wood thing. Thank you very much for the kind comments that you made about that analysis that Larry and I did. That card will be up also right there. And of course, you could join Patreon while you're hitting like, subscribe, and notify. And that's all I've got. It's been great talking to you.